Okay, a little redundant here, but obviously each and every year we come here, it's exciting because, we as coaches, a lot's been talked about with the schedule and the kind of the chaos of things. But July is just a short little period where we could decompress for a short moment, but it goes quick. As soon as this event rolls around, it's kind of go time. And that, I think, gets myself and most coaches that talk about that, because it's time to go. And for our players, and they stay there and work out all summer and busting their tail. And for coaches, we've been working around the clock, around the year until July. So a little bit of a slow period, but once this time hits, it's exciting and really looking forward to it. I like where we're at as a program. Love our staff. I love the way this team's worked, and we're kind of chomping at the bit and ready to get going.
Mark, what's the number one thing that you want to get established with this group when fall camp starts?
Well, there's many things, as you can imagine, tying the organization together to get ready to go compete in this league. There's many things that you have to have in place. But I think if you just ask for one thing, it's a mindset. What is our mindset like to go do those things and to put ourselves in a position to prepare the right way, to work smart and efficiently and be ready to go, and just making sure the mindset's ready for everything that comes our way.
Obviously, there's familiarity because he's been here before. But aside from that, how have you noticed a difference in how Liam Cohen is as an offensive coordinator now?
Well, I think the nice thing is the familiarity is there, but for him, it's the confidence that he has. The last time he came back, he had never been in that situation before. His calling plays in the SEC, and so obviously coming to Kentucky and having the success that we had with his 1 year in place, I think that helped propel him and put him in a position to be the offense coordinator of defending Super Bowl champs, and so I think put those together, and then him coming back, I think he has a better understanding of what goes on. That doesn't mean it's easy. We all know calling plays in the SEC is difficult, and so I think with that, I think with Liam, he's been through that process. I think he has confidence in that, and again, that doesn't make it any easier. It doesn't mean it's just going to happen. We have to adjust, adapt. Things change. From 2 years ago to now, they're different. And so, we have to always be able to handle that. But I think we're both comfortable with each other. The players are comfortable with them. Even the guys that maybe didn't play for him last year, they knew or heard enough about him. Maybe knew him in recruiting, and so that helps.
It seems like across the board, the opposite word is consistency.
Yeah.
And some players tend to go hard some plays, and maybe kind of lighten up some. How do you impress it on all players? Consistency is it?
Well, if I understand that, and they want consistency, they should. I would never say that. I mean, you framed it that way. I mean, I wouldn't ever say that some of our players play hard sometimes and not play hard another. That's as a football coach, those are like that's like talking about my mama. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? But I agree with it to this extent. To be how focused are you? How dialed in? How, you know what I mean? What is our approach during the week? As I said many times, you've heard me talk about it. Everybody wants to win on Saturday. Guys are playing hard on Saturday, but it's what about the rest of the week to put ourselves in a position to win, and that's the consistency that we need with the preparation, our work ethic. It starts with our mindset.
Mark, you've been coming to this. Is that something that the players brought up themselves, or is that something that came from the coaching staff? Because all three of them mentioned, stacking days, being consistent, and taking care of yourself. And that sort of thing.
No, I think that's coming from them. And if you know anything about our program, that I want to be player-led. Of course, we have sessions and teach leadership and talk leadership and go through things, but that's something that I think is coming from them, and that's exciting to me, because we're just, getting started with dialing in and getting tuned into our preparation and the format that we have, for the official start date with fall camp.
Mark, since the last time we talked to you, you've added expect there are any more transfers. How do you feel about what you did in that spring window in terms of plugging in some holes you might have seen?
Definitely needed to do that. You know, it's different. You know, last year, and most of us coaches, I think, were in like, what in the world's going on here? This is a little bit of chaos, and now it's like it is what it is. So you better dive into it and adjust and adapt, and so I feel like we've done very well in the portal. You know, I think the obvious is, you know, the offensive line and making sure we, you know, shored up that and picked up some pieces that we needed, and you know, we picked up 5 in the portal on that, and we needed that. So you know, overall, I feel really good. I feel like we hit a, you know, D lineman that's going to be a big time player, a linebacker we really needed, a running back, a couple running backs. You know, that obviously a quarterback, the O-line. So we kicker, snapper. We picked up on all that. 2 kickers, a snapper, and a punter. Yeah. So yeah, we you know, had to fix some areas, and offensive line's obviously one of them, and special teams obviously needed to improve.
You've been coming to this thing for crazy enough over a decade now.
Yeah.
What have you seen over the last couple of years, or heard in the questions or whatever, that tell you how differently Kentucky and your program is perceived in the league?
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment, and I do feel that, know that, you know, from walking around, just seeing everybody in the league office and all the different people going, you know, to the league offices once a year and just getting to know the people around there, and then you see them here, and obviously the spring meetings, and I think it's a compliment to a lot of people going back a long time, you know, way back from the beginning when we were getting this thing turned. It was a lot different then than it is now with being able to turn a roster. And so it was much different time, and I'd say equally difficult, but there were some obstacles to overcome with turning a roster. And I do feel a sense of pride in that, you know, when people walk around and they know the style of play that we play. And we're far from perfect, but I think we've earned people's respect over the last 10+ years.
What do you think the brand is now? Like when people
know,
in this building that don't cover you every day, you know,
I
think
hope,
of you.
you know, I hope they think of it as a team that's still set at day one, very blue collar, very, very tough, and fundamentally sound, and put our players in a position to win. And again, we know that there's areas where you fall short on that, and there's times when you do it well, but overall, you know, our program has solid foundation and solid structure, and at the core, that's what I want to be. I mean, I want to be tough, I want to be physical, I want to be well coached, and then we want to be cute and score points and do all those other things. You know what I mean? So there's
You hear that you are, I think, the 8th longest tenured coach?
Pardon me?
What is your reaction when you hear that, I believe you're the 8th longest tenured coach now in college football?
Yeah, I didn't know that. I always get asked here because I know second longest in the SEC, behind a pretty good one. So, you know, that in itself I take as a compliment, because we know so many very good coaches have come and gone through this conference. They were friends of mine and good people and good coaches. But it's just hard, it's challenging, it's difficult. I think it's a credit to a lot of people, the fan base, the administration, and the past coaches and players that have put in a lot of work.
Coach, what's it been like pairing? How do you feel about the offensive line right now?
I feel good. I feel, you know, it's yet to be seen. We have to go prove it. We got to put it all together. We have some pieces. We feel like we've added some pieces that we desperately needed. Just in the spring alone with Marcus at left, you know, makes a big difference. That alone, you know, you know, and then Cortland, you know, having the opportunity to compete with Jeremy at right, you know, makes a big difference as well, because there were just some areas where, you know, it was tough last year. And Kenneth did a remarkable job being a swing guy and being able to do a lot of different positions, but you put him in a tough spot playing left. You know,
what are your goals for coaching Enzer in that group this year, Coach?
Yeah, we just need to be more consistent, just as the players had mentioned. I think we had some highs and some lows, but overall we need to be more consistent, and we have to get back to being more physical.
the veteran leaders that you brought this time around, they all said that the way that it ended last year just was a big reason why they came back. And you, in spring, you wanted more accountability, more leadership. How do you feel like the progression has been since you made that call?
We'll see. I mean, through spring, spring is spring. We got, I think we made some improvements in some areas, and that's a very fundamental period. The summer, I've seen some growth because that's where you're really going to get challenged in those dog days of summer when guys are getting up very early and working out very hard and getting prepared for a very long, tough season. And I'll know more when we get going on August 1st.
Mark, kind of going off Kyle's question, for years you've always talked about liking flying under the radar, but last year the expectations, Eli kind of talked about how they were kind of hard to ignore. Is it something where this year maybe getting back under the radar could benefit?
I'm not, that's not anything I can control, whether it's above the radar or under the radar or any of that. That's a narrative that you all can write or do. And sure, I think sometimes it's right in front of you one way or another. But I think, the way we handle adversity, and when things are going good, we played good. And the minute we hit some adversity, I didn't like the way we responded to that. And that can't happen. And that, quite honestly, hasn't happened a lot under my watch. And I wasn't very proud of that. And I need to do some things different and make sure we're prepared and just handle any and all situations the right way.
Coach, what's it been like pairing this O-line group specifically with a pro like Devin Leary?
I think, that's relatively easy transition because Devin has such great command. And I think making sure we look at the things that we've been successful at and the areas where we fell short maybe a year ago and making sure we get back to putting them in a position to be successful.
When Will got here, I remember you talking about a moment where you could hear the ball, and it's just, it surprises you seeing it in person versus film. Is there anything that Devin did during the spring that jumped out to you?
I think there was obviously some aha moments, like with just ball placement and just the way he throws it and just some spots and just a good football player, and that's going to happen, whether it's quarterback or any other position, right? They're going to have some moments if they're very talented and very good players that they're going to have some flash plays. But I like his approach. I love the way he handles himself. I love, the command that he has, and he has, again, he can make all the throws. He has great touch. Hopefully he'll make really good, quick decisions, and hopefully we'll do a better job in putting him in a position to be successful.
Couple of Will Levis questions for you. First, how do you feel when people use his stats from last season as a reason to knock him, or maybe even why he fell in the draft?
Well, I mean, obviously that bothers me because I'm the head coach, and if we put him in a position, that's not what we're looking to do. And so if you're just asking me personally, I mean, of course it doesn't make you feel good. You want to help all your players and help them in any way that we can. That's something that maybe some people may believe in and some people may not.
And then the other one, you've been around a lot of great quarterbacks and different programs and stuff in your life. What does he bring that maybe makes you feel like he can meet that potential in the NFL?
Well, the first thing that he has, I mean, everybody's going to expect me to talk about the enormous talent that he has, but really it's the work ethic that he has. And at that level, I know everybody says that, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, every single person, every single quarterback is going to say that. I can promise you, from what I've seen, that he's going to work. And I know how hard it is to be successful at that position in the NFL. I also think it's very important to have the right system and the right people around him to help that quarterback be successful. But I know he will work, extremely hard. And I mean, he'll be relentless. I mean, it's not about being the starter. It's not about money. It's about winning and performing for his players. And I think that's the biggest thing with him is he is ultra competitive. And again, that's redundant, right? Everybody says that, but I saw it. I saw the way he worked, and and then if you work like that, then let the talent go to work.
Mark, what's kind of your philosophy in terms of bringing in a quarterback, a transfer at quarterback, and what specifically in Devin Leary did you see that you were like, we got to get him?
With Devin, it was an easy decision. I mean, you saw a guy with some playing experience, that performed at a very high level. But obviously, he's gone through some injuries, but hopefully he'll stay healthy because we feel like those were freaky incidents, really. And he's a very tough guy, and he's a heck of a football player. And we're going to add a player at any position that could help us win. Now, because it is a different time. Back in the day when I first got here, it was about building, from the ground up and really worrying about 2-3 years down the road. And right now, you better win now. And that's the world that we've created. It is what it is. And so we'll continue to do that.
What are you guys feeding J.J. Weaver?
He's working
Said he was
hard.
230 last season and 255 now.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I think hopefully he's taking a page out of Josh Allen's book where he just came back and put his head down and really went to work and doing all the things necessary to put himself in a position to have a great year.
Couple more.
Mark, obviously Deion had a great freshman year, but JJ was saying he's even a little quicker this year. What can he do to take a next step to even be in that All-American conversation?
Well, I think he just continue to grow, continue to develop, and take the coaching. One thing, you forget sometimes when you watch him. I mean, that's a young guy out there, and but immensely talented, and takes coaching, and has to continue to do that. Continue to have that All-American mindset where you want to work. If you have the best talent or some of the best talent, the great ones I've been around have always been the hardest working guys on the team.
You came up through the.
Now, you said the program is solid now.
What?
You said the program you feel like is very solid in terms of where you are now. How does that stack up to the phrase of reaching the culture?
You talking about the program, Lonnie, and the culture? Yeah, I mean, that's a staple with us. I mean, just stacking days, stacking years, stacking weeks. And I've said that before. But for us to have a successful year, we better stack some days together. And then ultimately they'll come the weeks and so on. And so we can't get too far out in front of us. Things do not happen automatically. Things change, people get hurt, injuries, a lot of things happen on a day-to-day basis. So we got to be able to handle anything that comes our way and put our team in a position to win.
You're a secondary guy. You got breaking 2 new cornerbacks this year, and there's a lot of potential players at that spot. So what do they have to do in camp during this competition that's going to earn your trust to be able to roll out there on Saturday?
There's a lot of opportunities. That's the big thing. We have so many practices and different phases of that practice, and so, we'll have a lot of opportunity to see their ability, and so, experience does matter a lot of times, but also talent does, so we got to make sure we got guys out there that can cover. The game changes. Teams within our league, certain games, you know what I mean? You got to be able to handle some one-on-ones, and you also got to be able to process things. So we'll see where it goes. I think there's a lot to work with there, and I like the nucleus of the group.
Mark, you mentioned.
You talked about JJ a little bit, and when you're talking about that decision to come back, what did you tell him is most important in his development to take that next step?
Oh, I think him, it's just, he knows. It's just the mindset of just being just every day, just doing all the things necessary, whether it's nutrition, whether it's sleep, whether it's whatever he's putting in his body, just making sure he's doing things to help himself. And I think, that's the big thing, is just really attack the day, and attack it every day and be consistent with it, and, with his weight and his strength, and you could see that to this point, and he's got to keep on going.
And Mark, I was just going to ask, you mentioned so much about the getting back to the blue-collar identity and that being a staple program, but for you, the program as a whole, what is the next step for you to get to where you know, you're competing and winning championships here in the SEC? Is there
Yeah,
something specific you've identified?
and I wouldn't say getting back to it. I just
Yeah.
wanna be efficient
Yeah.
at what we are. I think that we've never gotten away from that. I think sometimes we've been more successful than others. And, you know, I know you're not gonna compete for a championship unless you're that.
Yeah.
But then you gotta put all the other pieces together. So when there's times when we've been extremely physical, great, you know, at running the ball, great on defense and everything, maybe not having the dynamic playmakers of the quarterback or putting all the pieces together. That's what it takes to win at the highest level in this league. You're good, you're great across the board. You know, you got dynamic playmakers with strength and size on the perimeter. You got, you know, your fronts are obviously dominant, you know, so you're good top to bottom. And I think all of us are always trying to strive for that.
Okay, folks, thank you very much, appreciate it.